that's not what it's called. Savvis thing. So we're going to go ahead and go over to Google Classroom. It's the same one that we've been working on, the Michaela DePrince Student Edition. And let's go ahead and open that up.
Hello.
Hello. Make sure I think I have everybody checked off for attendance. I'm sure more people will join. Alrighty, Michaela DePrince. While that's loading, does anybody want to give us a little recap of what the story is about?
About a war orphan that is a ballerina when she grows up.
Okay, good.
And has parents.
Where did she come from? Do you guys remember?
Don't know.
No. Anybody else? Anybody remember?
I know where, but I can't think of the name.
It's called Sierra Leone. Yeah, what's up? Oh, okay. Give me a second, guys. I'm going to go help out Mr. Turner. Okay? I'll be right back.
Bye.
Now can you hear me? All good?
Your mouse was moving automatically when you were gone.
Interesting. All right. Yeah, I don't know how. Well, I don't know how. There's a ghost in here. We'll go with that. Okay. Let's go ahead and get going. In Savvis on Michaela DePrince. Hopefully you have it open. I went through and graded some stuff yesterday. It's not in Power School, but it's in my grade book. Not a lot of you guys have actually finished this, so you need to make sure you're doing the comprehension check. There's 4 questions there. So a lot of you guys need to go back and finish that comprehension check.
Did I finish everything I needed to do?
I don't remember. I think so, Charlie.
Okay.
Yeah, Charlie, you're good.
Okay.
And then the analyze, craft, and structure, only 2 people in the whole class finished that. So it's pretty safe to assume that almost everybody needs to go and finish this part.
Me?
Okay?
Did I finish it?
Yes, you finished it, Charlie. So those 2, comprehension check, analyze, craft, and structure, are 2 sections that you need to go back and do. I know we did all the other ones too, but those 2 are graded, so you need to at least do those ones. Capiche? Sound good? All right.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and look at the next section. We're done with all of the making meaning parts. It's under, we're going to look at language development now. We're going to do these 4 sections today. There we go. So we're going to start with concept vocabulary, do word study, word networking, conventions. But let's open up concept vocab and look at that. These are vocab words that we've been using and talking about. We have antagonism, refugee, and distraught. What does antagonism mean? Before we even get going, what does it mean to antagonize someone?
State of being opposed to someone.
Being opposed to someone? Okay. What else?
Hostility.
What's a simpler word than hostility? Like, if I'm going to go antagonize someone, I'm going to go be what to them?
Mean?
Harmful?
Mean. It's not. You're just not very nice to them. What about refugee? What does it mean to be a refugee?
A person who flees to another country to escape danger as in time of war.
Good. So during a war, people that are refugees will leave their country to try and escape all the things that are happening during the war. And then what about distraught? What does distraught mean?
Very troubled and unhappy.
Maybe sad or like confused or
Mm-hmm. Yep. Both of you are right. Sad,
I just read the
confused,
things.
yeah, unhappy. It's just not a good, you're not in a good state of mind there. So let's look at why these words. It says the concept vocabulary words from the text are all related to each other. They all can go together. So in our group right now, we're going to determine what do these words have in common? What do they all kind of remind you of? What's in common?
Something bad is happening in all of them.
Good. Something bad is happening with all of them, so we can start with that. So they all have something bad that has to do with them, whether you're sad, whether you're escaping a country, or whether something's mean or someone's being mean to you. They all have something bad that has to do with them. Mr. Turner, it's under language development. All four of them are under language development. Cool. Alright. How you guys doing? Getting that typed out?
Mhm.
Anybody have any other ideas of how these could be related? I could think of one more that if you guys can't think of it, I'll tell you. But yes, no? Any other ways that these could be related?
No.
Huh? Well, if we think about Michaela DePrince, she came from a country that was in war. So in war, different countries will antagonize each other, and it leads them into war. During war, people are refugees because they need to escape, and then during war, some people are distraught about what's happening. So what all do they have in common? I just said it like 8 times.
War.
War. They all have to do with war as well. Okay. So I'll give you a minute to type those out. Alrighty, I'm just gonna close that notebook, scroll down just a little bit so we can talk about the next one, because you guys are just gonna get a little bit of time to work on the next part. The one that says practice. It says to check your understanding of the vocabulary words, you're gonna use them in a paragraph, or just in a few sentences is fine with me. You're gonna include context clues to make a hint at what each word means. So basically, you're going to write a sentence using each word. So number 1, write a sentence using antagonism. 2, write a sentence using refugee. And number 3, write a sentence using, what's the last word? Distraught. Okay, so there's a little bit of work for you guys to do there. I'll give you about 5 minutes to just finish up this section, okay? Sound good? Any questions about what you need to do on that part? All good?
No. Miss
Alright.
Jo.
Yeah.
Thanks, so I might I'm gonna have to leave for an appointment, so I might not make it to the last class.
Okay, that's alright. Maybe just go watch the video after so you can see what we did and make sure you know what to do on the assignment.
Okay.
Okay. Let's do about 2 more minutes and see where you guys are at. Alrighty, how you guys doing? Need another minute or so? Yes, no, maybe so?
Yes, no, maybe so.
But do you need more time? A little bit? Another minute or so to finish up those sentences?
Yeah.
Okay. Do 1 more minute and then we're going to move on to our next part, word study. Alright. Alrighty. Hopefully you guys have some sentences there. If not, go back and finish it up later. It's totally fine. So I'm going to close that section, or the notebook. But but I'm also going to close the section for concept vocabulary. Okay, so we're on language development still, and we're going to go look at the word study. We're going to look at one word in particular and just go in depth on that one word. So we're going to open up word study, talk about synonyms and antonyms, and go from there. Do you guys know what a synonym and an antonym is? Or no, is it too early in the morning?
Isn't it cinnamon means like C and C?
Those are homophones. You're close. Synonyms. If you read this,
Are words that are similar.
good. So synonyms are words that are similar. They have a similar meaning, like run and jog. They basically mean the same thing, right? I'm gonna go for a run. I'm gonna go for a jog. Same thing. Antonyms have what sort of meaning?
They mean like a word and its opposite word.
Good.
So like
Antonyms.
open and close.
Good. Antonyms are opposite. So open and close are antonyms. Good. So we're going to talk about some synonyms and antonyms to the word antagonism. So we're going to use just antagonism as our main word, and we're going to focus on that one today. It says using a dictionary, determine and verify the meaning of antagonism, but we have it right over here in our blue thing, so we don't need to use a dictionary. So we know that antagonism means that you're hostile, you're being opposed to someone, you're mean to them, creating a conflict. So what it wants us to do is find two synonyms and two antonyms in a thesaurus and write a sentence for each one that you find. Now, I'm going to assume that most of you guys don't have a thesaurus at home. Is that correct?
A what?
Right? Exactly, a thesaurus. Do you guys know what a thesaurus is?
No.
It's
A
like a
thesaurus?
dictionary.
Go ahead, Elijah.
Isn't it like a dictionary?
Similar. It's very similar to a dictionary. You still have to look up words like a dictionary, but thesaurus gives you words that mean the same thing or are antonyms. So it gives you a list of synonyms and a list of antonyms to that word, just so you can use better word choice. Now, the cool thing about the internet, and
Whoa.
Huh?
Nothing.
Okay.
It was just over knowing what that was.
Yeah. So the cool thing about the internet is that there are online thesauruses. So if you open up a new tab, you might want to do this as well, so that because I don't think I'll be able to keep it on my screen. So open up a new tab, and in this top scroll bar, right here where you Google it, we're gonna type in thesaurus. Spell it correctly. Thesaurus. Thesaurus.com. Okay, so I'll give you a second. Type that out. And the first one that pops up is actually Thesaurus.com. Sounds like a dinosaur, doesn't it? Okay, so
Yeah.
Thesaurus.com, you can click on it once you get there, and it takes you to this whole website that is like synonym of the day, antonym. You can even click over to dictionary.com too. It goes back and forth between both. But we're going to stick with synonyms. Thesaurus.com. Let me know when you're there.
I'm there.
Cool.
I'm there too.
Cool.
I'm here.
Alright, so thesaurus.com. Now we're going to use the word antagonism. So in order to figure out synonyms and antonyms for antagonism, we're going to type in this in the search bar right here, antagonism. Wow. It's a word that I'm not good at spelling. Type in antagonism and hit search, the little magnifying glass. And then it gives you a ton of synonyms right there. Okay, how'd you guys do? Did you find it?
Mhm.
Alright. done this, you now have a ton of synonyms for antagonism. We have animosity, animus, antipathy, disagreement, discord, dissension. There's a ton. You might not know what a lot of these mean, so maybe choose the ones that you do know what they mean, so that you can write a sentence. Because over on Savvis, I'm going to click back over. In our notebook right here, it wants you to write 4 sentences. So our first sentence is a sentence using a synonym for antagonism. And the second sentence is another sentence using a synonym. Okay, so let's start with those 2 sentences. Find 2 synonyms for antagonism and write 2 sentences. Okay, I'll give you 3 minutes because you can choose any of these and write a sentence based off of those. Sound good? Make sense?
Yep.
All right. I'll leave it on this screen for a minute and then I'll switch back over to Savvis after that. Alright, so just writing 2 sentences using synonyms. Try finding 2 different synonyms, words that mean the same thing as antagonism, and write those 2 sentences. Give you another 2 minutes or so. Sorry, it's hard to play music on this one, I would, but with the headphones on, it kind of ruins that.
Miss Jones, will you go back to the synonyms page?
Yep, here you go. Alright, so as you're finishing up those 2 sentences with synonyms, the cool thing about Thesaurus.com is it also gives you antonyms, opposites. So all you have to do is scroll down a little bit and you get some antonyms. So we have agreement, approval, friendship, kindness, love, peace, all things that are opposite of antagonizing someone, being mean or hateful to them. So for our next 2 sentences, you're going to write sentences using an antonym for antagonism. And then sentence using an antonym. Okay, so at the end of this, you should have 4 sentences, 2 that use synonyms and 2 sentences that use antonyms. Okay, makes sense? Good on that? Just gonna give you a little bit of time to work on it. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right, here's that list of antonyms again if you need them. Okay, there's a lot of you guys on here that I actually have to ask a question about computers. So pay attention really quick. Those of you that are coming back to school on Monday, I just need to know if you are using your own computer, like you did not need to get one from the district, or if you had to go wait in that long line and pick up a computer from the district. So, Juliana, you're on here. Are you using a school computer or your own?
A school computer.
School
I
one?
also have something to tell you though.
Go ahead.
On Monday, my mom's scheduled for a dentist appointment, so I'm gonna be checked out the first day of school.
That's all
But I'm
right.
gonna be coming right back.
Okay, that's fine. I think that should be okay.
I have a school computer.
You have a school computer? Good.
I have a school computer.
Charles. Okay, let's see who else. Bradford. Okay, Elijah has a school computer. Gabriel has a school computer.
I used to have a home computer, but my sister took that one, so I'm using the district one.
You're using one of the school computers that they gave you? What about Bradford? Are you on here? Bradford, do you know? Or do you have a school one? Nope. Okay, good. That's fine. Let's see. Liliana's not here. Kaylan's not here. Alex, are you here? Are you using a school computer or a personal one? You can type it in the chat if you need to. If you're there. I think that's all the people on here that I need, though. Okay, it's good to know. Okay, now that we're past that part, are we ready for? Let's move on. That's where I'm going with this. Or do you guys still need a minute or two to write these 4 sentences?
I'm good.
You're good. All right. Anybody else need any more time? Or can we go on?
You can go on.
Alrighty, I'm going to close this tab then. We don't need it anymore. If you need to, go back and write these synonyms and antonyms in their sentences. Totally fine. Just finish it up later. So I'm going to close that word study, and we're on word network. Going pretty quick today, actually. This one's just super quick. Based off of this story, so the Michaela DePrince in her childhood, what sort of words can we add to like our list of words about childhood? What kind of things are different about her childhood that we could add? Or just any words that relate to childhood, too.
About like our childhood or her childhood?
Let's go with hers. So things from her childhood that relate to childhood.
Also, does it have to be a complete sentences?
On the word study part? Or down here on the word network?
Word network.
Word network, we can just write words. So if you have any, I'll just start typing them out. And Andy is thinking about her childhood. Was it easy, hard, fun, sad?
Chaotic.
Okay, chaotic is a good one. She had a pretty chaotic childhood. What else?
Sad.
Kind of sad. This is the beginning
Hard.
of her childhood, right? It was hard.
Yeah.
But then she got adopted. So what kind of words could we use in terms of after she was adopted?
Happy?
She got
Excited.
happy, excited. Just heard the chat go off.
Hope and faith.
What does the chat say? Good. Happy, Bradford. Awesome. There was more hope.
Mad.
There was more faith.
Good. There was more faith. I heard someone say she was mad as a child as well. Good. So there's just some words that we can add. If you have more of your own, feel free to add more. Some words about childhood, because you guys all go through all these things too, right? You're mad, you're sad, it can be hard, happy, all kinds of things, right? Okay, so I'll give you a second to type those out. Add any more of your own that you would like to. Okay, while you type that, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the
What's
computer
the
thing
last
I
one,
just
sorry?
asked. Mad. So the people that I just asked if you have a computer, because you're coming back to school on Monday and it's a school computer, bring it with you, because we don't have computers here anymore. We gave them all to you guys to take home. So in order for you to be able to do that work here, bring it with you. Okay, on Monday. Bradford,
Okay.
no, go ahead, Elijah. You're not coming back though, so you're good. You don't need to bring your computer back. You'll just hop online at the same times.
Okay.
No, Jada, we are not done. Still got a little bit more. I'm just talking to you guys about the computers while you type that. And then Bradford, you said you don't have a what's it called? A school computer, which is fine. If you're using a personal one at home, you're not going to be able to bring it and use it. Unfortunately, they don't give us the Wi-Fi password, so I won't be able to log you onto the internet, which means that until we can get you a computer for here, we're going to have to give you some paper materials to work on instead. So you, Bradford, you don't need to bring a computer on Monday. We'll have paper stuff for you to do instead, but it'll be the same stuff we do with everybody else. But those of you that do have a computer that's the school computer, bring it with you so that you can do the work. Make sense?
I'm leaving Friday and for a week.
Okay. This Friday?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and do our last section there. So we did word network. I'm going to close it. This last part is conventions. We're going to talk about reflexive and intensive pronouns. Last week we talked about pronouns a little bit and how they replace a noun. So instead of saying Jacob went to the store, we would say he went to the store. You take out the noun, put in a pronoun like he, she, we, they, it, whatever the pronoun that fits there, you would replace it with. So it says a pronoun is a word that takes the place of one or more nouns or other pronouns. Reflexive pronouns and intensive pronouns are forms of pronouns that end with self or selves. So this is kind of the definition that we're going to go with here. If you want to highlight it, totally good. So these different pronouns end with self or self. So myself, ourselves, themselves, yourself. Words like that. They basically use the word self because they
Is
reflect.
self
Yeah.
a word?
Is self a word?
Is self a word?
No, they're just saying it'll end in selves. So it's like themselves, ourselves, right? So selves alone is not a word, but when you put little like word parts in front of it, it becomes a full word.
Okay.
So these pronouns look the same, but they function differently in a sentence. So I'm going to open up this little activity. There's nothing for you to type. It's just words. So first person is like saying it's myself or ourselves. So you would say it about yourself. The next one, second person, is about like other people. So you would say yourself, yourselves. And then a third person type of reflexive and intensive pronoun would be talking about other people. So himself, herself, itself, or themselves. So these are intensive and reflexive pronouns if you're struggling with the questions down below, this is the chart that you're going to want to come back to. It tells you all the different ones that you're going to use. There's really no other ones besides these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pronouns for reflexive and intensive. After this, they don't really flow very well. You can't use other types of pronouns in these sentences. So let's look at these types of pronouns. A reflexive pronoun reflects or directs the action of a verb back on the subject. It indicates that the person or the thing performing the action of the verb is also receiving the action. A reflexive pronoun is essential to the meaning of its sentence. So if we click on that, it just gives you a little bit more of a definition. Basically the same thing, but there is an example right here. It says, I keep myself fit by walking every day. So they are keeping themselves fit by doing that every day. So it's coming back on them. It's reflecting back on their lifestyle. That's where the myself comes in. Okay. These are a little bit tricky, so it's okay if they're a little hard for you. Then we have intensive pronoun. Simply emphasizes the noun or the pronoun to which it refers to. It usually appears very close to the noun or pronoun that it emphasizes. And an intensive pronoun can be removed from a sentence without changing the meaning. In the chart, the subject is underlined and the pronouns are set in italics. So there's the chart right here that we'll look at. But these intensive pronouns can basically be taken out of sentences and the sentence will still work. So it says, it took the work of the president himself to pass the law. So they added this word himself in there. They added this word himself to show that, to just emphasize that it's him doing it. So the president himself tried to pass the law. Can we take out the word himself and it would still make sense as a sentence if we took out himself? What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Yeah, it took the work of the president to pass the law. Still sounds like a sentence, still works like a sentence. They're just adding this pronoun, this intensive pronoun, to just emphasize that it's the president that can do this. Okay? So let's look at just a couple of examples, and then I'll give you guys a little bit of time to do those conventions down there. So here's a few examples of reflexive pronouns. I bought myself a new paintbrush. Myself is the the reflexive pronoun because they're doing it for themselves. So it's reflecting back on the I. I bought myself a new paintbrush. Our second one is a third person one. We're talking about a different person. So Luke made himself late for school. Himself reflects back on who did it, which is Luke. So Luke made himself late for school. Our next one is like a plural of other people. So Emil and Maria were mad at themselves for losing the cat. So themselves refers to Emil and Maria. So it reflects back on them. That's why they're called reflexive pronouns. It reflects back to the subject of the sentence, who the sentence is about. Okay. On our next part, examples of intensive pronouns is, again, we're just kind of adding something in there to emphasize who it's about. So I myself chose the paintbrush I wanted. Again, we can take out myself and it would still make a complete sentence. I chose the paintbrush I wanted. This myself just really emphasizes who chose the paintbrush. Same thing for this next part. Luke himself should have known better. We could take out himself and just say Luke should have known better, but we're emphasizing the himself and saying Luke himself knew that he should have known better. And our last one, Emil and Maria themselves searched for the lost cat. So themselves is just there to emphasize that Emil and Maria, had to search for this poor cat that they lost. Don't lose your cat, folks. It's sad. Now, notice that all three of these intensive pronouns come directly after who they're talking about. So it's not, I chose the paintbrush myself, I wanted. They're not just throwing it randomly in the sentence. It's usually almost directly after who they're talking about. Okay? How are we doing? Doing okay on the reflexive intensive pronouns part?
Yeah, doing good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know they're a little bit tricky. It's okay. There's a couple of activities to do down here, so I'm gonna slightly do them with you, but I am gonna take these ones for a grade. So we'll do 1 and 2. I'll guide you, but you're gonna finish them on your own. So it says, read it. Identify the reflexive or intensive pronoun in each of the passages from Michaela DePrince, the war orphan who became a ballerina. Then write whether the pronoun is intensive or reflexive. So for part 1, it says, that was all I could think about when I was on stage. I had trouble looking at myself in the mirror, she says. So now we need to first, part A, there's 2 parts to 1 and 2. Part A, identify the pronoun. Identify the pronoun. Okay, so I'm going to do this one with you. That was all I would think about when I was on stage. I had trouble looking at myself in the mirror. We're looking for an intensive or a reflexive pronoun. Which word do you think is that pronoun in that sentence?
Myself?
It's myself because it's reflecting back on her. Myself. Wow, I spelled that wrong. Myself. That's the pronoun. So all you guys have to do is write myself. You don't have to write identify the pronoun. But our first one is myself, and then we need to decide, is it intensive or is it reflexive? So you might need to go back up to the chart and look through. But is it intensive? Are they emphasizing myself, who it's about, or is it reflexive and reflecting back on the person talking? What do you guys think? And if we look at this chart that has all the examples, I guess it doesn't say if it's intensive or reflexive, but the second one does. This chart that has some examples in it. Where do you see myself? Under reflexive pronouns or intensive pronouns?
Intensive.
Oh, it's under both, isn't it? Interesting. So let's think about it in a different way then. It's going to be reflexive on this one. So we're going to write it and let's talk about it. Reflexive. So this one is reflexive because it's going back to the subject of the sentence. So myself is our pronoun here, and it's going back to who is talking, which is Micheala, but she's talking about I. It's reflecting back onto the person talking. So it's reflexive on that one. Okay. These are definitely a little bit difficult, so don't beat yourself up too much if it's hard. I'm going to give you a second to type that, and then we'll look at number 2, but I'm going to have you guys do number 2 on your own. All right. Number 2 here says, instead of glorifying in the glittery tutus and bodices that had drawn her to ballet, she covered herself up whenever possible with turtleneck sweaters. So again, part A, you need to first identify the pronoun. Identify pronoun. And I'm going to have you guys do this one on your own, so don't say it out loud this time. So part A, identify the pronoun, not just the random she, her, it. We want the intensive or the reflexive pronoun. So identify which one is the pronoun in that sentence. And then you need to tell me, is it intensive? Is it showing, emphasizing and making it more clear who it's about? Or is it reflexive and reflecting back on the subject of the sentence about who it's talking about? So I just need 2 words there, the pronoun, and then whether it's intensive or reflexive. So I'll give you a minute to write that one out. Alrighty. Hopefully you're getting that one done. And I'm just gonna talk about the write it part, give you guys a minute or two, and then you'll be good to go. So this write it part says write 3 sentences about Michaela DePrince's life using intensive pronouns. So that's the key there. You're gonna go back and use intensive pronouns, and I highly suggest you just go back up and look at the examples and use those to help you write 3 sentences. Okay. You can write about anything about her life that you'd like to. You just need to use 3 intensive pronouns. Okay, so that part is, again, just kind of on you guys, writing 3 sentences using intensive pronouns. Use the little charts up top to help you out with those parts. But that is all you guys are going to be finishing up for the day.